podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
An unthinkable crisis has struck the Echo Ridge Mall. A mysterious outbreak has claimed the lives of nearly everyone there. What's worse is they are crawling the stores and commons as zombies hungry for flesh. Only a few survivors remain. Are you among the survivors, or are you one of the ravenous zombies?
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, but this is a story of Tine Epic Zombies, a game of brutal survival by Michael Coe over at Games, and also we're lucky enough to have on Michael on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf tonight. He is the owner of Games, the creators of the Tine Epic Games. You probably heard of him before, and we wanted to welcome you to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. We really appreciate you coming on the show, Michael.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Blake, for having me on.
No problem. Is that how you fit in? How do you fit into the line? Are you the creator? It looks like it was designed by Scott Almes. How do you fit in line with Tine Epic Zombies? Yeah,
so the whole Tine Epic series is designed by Scott Almes and created by the two of us. So I'm the owner and founder of Games. We're the publishing company behind Tine Epic. It all started with Tine Epic Kingdoms, which was the original kind of the flagship in the series that Scott Almes designed and submitted to Games for publication. After the success of that game, both Scott and I recognized that there was kind of a niche to be filled in the industry for small box games that offered robust, meaningful gameplay. So from there, the two of us went forward with creating a series out of Tine Epic, and now the rest is history. We have 6 entries in the line with our latest Tine Epic Zombies on Kickstarter now.
Let's rewind a little bit, if we could, Michael, before Games, or whenever, maybe not all the way back to birth unless you were born into board games, but how did you get started in tabletop board gaming?
Well, I wasn't born into board games, but I definitely was a gamer my whole life. I grew up in the 80s in the Nintendo era and played a lot of video games. It was definitely my most passionate hobby growing up. And I was bartending and managing a restaurant at the time that I transitioned into board gaming. And it kind of became clear to me that I didn't want to continue working in the restaurant business, that I wanted to do something more aligned with my passion. And I didn't know how to code video games, nor did I have the kind of capital it requires to make a video game. So I figured, well, it's not too different to make a board game. It's different enough, but at the same time, there's a lot of similarities in designing mechanics and developing a game and creating a experience through clever mechanics and gameplay. So I tried my hand at designing a board game, and I ended up designing a few board games that I self-published using Kickstarter under Games. And after that, I began taking submissions from other designers, and that's when I hooked up with Scott Almes, and we went from there.
Minus Tine Epic Zombies at the current time, because they probably drag me out into the street and have me hung if I let you pick your own game. Do you have a favorite game beside one of your games at the current time, Michael?
Well, one of my all-time favorite games that I just, usually I'm playing my own games and developing, because there's just a lot of work that goes into developing a game and making it as good as it can be. But if I do get to break away from that, I really enjoy playing Carcassonne. My wife enjoys it. My friends enjoy it. I'm able to introduce it to people because it's very simple. So that's the game that receives the most play outside of games in my own line.
Cool. So you guys like that one? That's cool. So what about you? Talk about your wife. Does she play a lot of the games too then, I guess?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She plays all of them. She's part of the kind of the internal development team where, part of the Tine Epic Games is being very approachable. And while my wife is naturally a very good gamer, she didn't grow up playing a lot of games, and so she's pretty new to the board game industry in terms of not having played hundreds of different kinds of games. And so she has a really good feeling for what makes a game approachable and whatnot. So, anytime we are working on a new game, it's very important that we put it in front of her and she gets a chance to play it and kind of grade how approachable it is. And it's all part of the process.
Oh, okay, and you talk if she doesn't have 100 games under her, hundreds of games. Does that mean you do when you have like played a lot of the games before this?
Well, not hundreds, but I have played a fair amount of games, but no, not as many as some people out there. I mean, I own hundreds of board games. I just haven't played them all.
Yeah, I know how that goes. My wife, what do you call it? She got into it a couple years back, just with the Kickstarters and whatnot, liking the games, the appeal or whatnot. So that helped clear up some bookshelf space. Well, I guess first off, Kindle helped because before when we got married, I never saw somebody who owned so many books. And then just over the years, we gained a lot of those. And then a couple years back, she started backing Kickstarter, and we started getting games that way. And then year and a well, not this last Christmas or whatnot, but the following holiday season before, or the preceding holiday season before that, I kind of got into my play here and there with her. But then I felt my son and I watched Rodney Smith going over Blood Rage, so me and him sat down to play that, and it was like Christmas all over again. And so I kind of fell in love with it, and then decided we wanted to do the podcast so we could get people that weren't into games as much into it, that they could kind of hear about the different games on Kickstarter as well as different games that me and my family are playing, and kind of been going at it ever since. So I don't have hundreds of games behind me as well. So yeah. But also, like you said, we having hundreds of board games that we haven't been able to play. They keep stacking up or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Rodney Smith. I really I have a lot of respect for Rodney Smith. He does a great job in what he does, and he does the playthrough videos or how to play videos for all of our games as well. So anybody that is picking up a Game on Games title, they can Google watch it played. With the game title that they picked up, and they'll be able to find Rodney Smith doing an instructional. He's very good.
Cool. Yeah, I think so. We're still trying to get into. We had a little bit of a sibling rivalry going on. We were trying to sit down to play Tine Epic Galaxy today. We watched. I think I had to run off or something. So my 9-year-old was manning the thing, and he watched a lot of Rodney's video, but then I don't remember. I think there was a fight broke out, so we weren't able to play it, but we're going to bring it to the table so we can hopefully have it on the podcast this following Friday for Family Fun Day Friday.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we're excited. It's kind of interesting thing you have going on, because I don't know if it's the same with all of the. I imagine it's the same with all of the Tine Epic games, but there's no board, like actual board. I guess there's little small pieces here and there, but no actual board. Is that right for all of the Tine Epic games?
So far, the Tine Epic games are the board is comprised of a series of cards, and a lot of those cards can be flipped over for a different version of the same area or a different area. Sometimes some of the cards aren't part of the game, and so there's a lot of variability in being able to build whatever board it is for the game that you're playing. So it's kind of, having the board built out through cards and be modular like that really provides a channel for us to add a lot of replayability and variability to the Tine Epic games.
That's cool. So do you know how Scott came up with that idea? The whole smallness or whatnot?
Scott, that just seems to be his forte in design, in my personal opinion. Now, he's designed a lot of different size games as well as complexity, but I think Scott really has a knack for designing a game that is very approachable, has a simple engine, but then has layers of strategy that unfold through the options that you're presented in the game. which I think he also captured very well in our big box game, Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, which is Gameland's first real robust game. It's not even I wouldn't even call it a large game. It's like an extra large game, but yet it has the approachability and that Scott Almes is known for, as he's the designer of the game. So while it fulfills a full 4X experience, it's getting raving reviews, and it's being called probably the most approachable 4X game on the market, but not to be confused with a 4X Lite. It is a full 4X game, but one that people can get right into and learn quick and play over and over again.
Yeah, that's cool. So a 4X game. A while back ago, I had somebody on the show, and she explained what the 4X. I want to say like exploration. I don't remember all the X's, but
Yeah, it's explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate.
cool. And is there any other games on the market? You talked of it being a full-on 4X, but people can bring it to the table easier. Is there any other games kind of similar to, you said Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is what the name of it is?
Yeah, it's other 4X games like Twilight Imperium. There's several big box 4X games out there, but they're known for taking 4 to 6 hours to play. Whereas Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea plays at about 30 minutes a player. So if you're playing 4 players, you're still going to be right around 2 hours, which is obviously it's quite a bit less than playing a 6-hour game of Twilight Imperium or something, or Eclipse, or so there's usually 4X games are a lot longer. But that's we didn't want to create a weekend burner. We wanted to have a game that you could start and finish in one game night, and maybe still have time for another game, but yet really capture what those longer games are doing, but doing it in a faster time. And the way that we do that is by implementing a mechanic that Scott used in Tine Epic Galaxies. It's a follow mechanic where on other people's turns, based on what actions they take, you're able to follow and take the same kinds of actions, but you do your own thing, but it's the same action, but it's executed differently based on your particular situation in the game. And in Galaxies, it requires that you have certain resources, and it's not too unlike Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, but you're not spending resources in that game. You're using your surf units, which are kind of your worker units. They could be doing other things like gathering resources or constructing buildings, but if you choose, you can use them to follow your opponent. So there's kind of an economy of your workers that you have to balance between all these different things that they could do. But by having a follow action in a 4X game, and one that other players can perform effectively simultaneously, that allows us to condense the experience of a 6-hour 4X into a 2-hour 4X, because many actions are happening at the same time. So in the end, you end up doing as much as you would in one of these longer games, or at least comparably, but you're doing it much faster, and you're doing it on other people's turns, so the game doesn't last as long.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So it doesn't take all day long or whatnot. Because I know there's some of these games like you have to watch it either you have to sit all day spending in the rule book, or whether it be that or watching a video and then bring it to the table, and it's going to take forever. So that's cool that this one doesn't. And then on the flip side, I guess you would are the Tine Epic Game, from what it sounds like. And I really like the launch up to this last one. I don't know if you do that with all of them, with the different question mark every day, and people don't know what they're going to be.
No, so you're referring to kind of this secret puzzle reveal that we did for Tine Epic Zombies, which was unique to Tine Epic Zombies. It was the first time that we had chosen that kind of marketing approach. We felt it was thematic with the zombies theme, and it was something that we felt would be kind of fun and different. So, but typically we announce our game 3 to 4 months prior to launching it, and everybody knows what it is. They know what to expect. They can get excited about it. But we did take a slightly different approach with this particular title. And again, it's because of the theme of the game, and it's not likely going to be a marketing approach that we use moving forward for all of our titles. It's just something that we wanted to try out, and ultimately it was very well received. The project is performing better than any project we had ever launched in the past, so we certainly didn't lose any. The game certainly wasn't not. I mean, it certainly got out there. Is what I'm trying to say is that a lot of people knew about the game. We had announced the date for the game. They just didn't know what the theme was. But it certainly had the kind of exposure that we were looking for.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask how it did in comparatively, because I saw that it funded in like 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, it funded in 7 minutes. Our previous best, I believe, was Tine Epic Defenders: The Dark War, I think, and that funded in 9 minutes, I want to say. So it definitely was our best. I'm looking it up right now, actually, just to see. But okay, so Tine Epic Defenders: The Dark War funded in 8 minutes, and Tine Epic Zombies funded in 6 minutes.
6 minutes. So the next one will be about 4 minutes. That's pretty good.
Hey, I hope so.
There you go. Cool. So just like we've been discussing or whatnot, the word on the street is you guys have a new Tine Epic game there on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about it, Michael?
Well, Tine Epic Zombies kind of goes back to the roots of the kind of the mantra behind Tine Epic. One of the things that we really like to do with this series is cover a wide range of play styles, including various themes, various mechanics, various levels of complexity. But something that we wanted to do with Tine Epic Zombies was go back to kind of the simpler roots. And so it plays more simple like Tine Epic Galaxies does. But what's really unique about the game is it has 5 distinct play modes. And this is not something we've done in the past, where you can play the game competitively or cooperatively. And then both within the competitive space, you can play against game controlled or AI controlled zombies, or you can kind of play one versus all and have a player control the zombies while the rest of the players compete against themselves and also against the zombie player. Or if you're playing cooperatively, you can do the same thing where you're playing against the game, or you can play against a single player who's controlling the zombies, and the rest of you work together against that player. And then it also offers solo play. So having so many different play modes, really, it's kind of like you're getting 5 games in the box because they all feel kind of different from each other. So that's a big pull for what makes this game unique and different than the rest in the series. And then we also introduced item meeples. We introduced in Tine Epic Quest, and we featured them in Tine Epic Defenders, the second edition with Tine Epic Defenders: The Dark War, and we're featuring them again in Tine Epic Zombies, except for this time, obviously, they don't have medieval fantasy items. They have modern day items like a bazooka and a machine gun and things of that nature that are more in line with the theme of zombies. So that's pretty exciting. And then we also included some vehicles that the item meeples ride around in. So if you may be in a position where you're riding through the mall on a motorcycle carrying a baseball bat and knocking zombies down, or you're maybe driving around the outside of the mall in a cop car. So that's kind of a fun innovation to the item meeples and kind of taking them to the next level.
Cool. And it looks like the meeples can hold the items and they can ride in the vehicles. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, that's pretty cool. And then also it's really cool, like the 5 different modes of gameplay. I noticed on Tine Epic Galaxies, it looks like there is a 1-player mode. I'm not sure what the other modes were, but it looks like it's just competitive. Am I right?
Yes, Tine Epic Galaxies is just a competitive game. Most of our Tine Epic games Well, I mean, all of them now, if you include getting the expansion to Tine Epic Kingdoms called Tine Epic Kingdoms Heroes Call, but they all include a solo play. So all of our Tine Epic games offer at least two modes of play, solo and then a multiplayer. Some of them are competitive. Most of them are competitive, and then some of them are cooperative.
Cool. So what's the part of the game that you're most proud of Tiny Epic Zombies?
The 5 play modes, the way that the smoothness and how those play, and also just the approachability of the game. Really, we're proud of how many different layers of strategy can come out of such a simple engine. Really, the basic of the game is that on your turn you move 3 times, and after a move there's certain if-thens that you can check to do additional actions, but they're all very quick. So anybody's turn is going to go by very, very quickly. But it's very simple. You're just moving, and then you may be able to do a couple of extra things, but then you move again, and you move again, and you're going to be moving into rooms with zombies and attacking them, or moving into rooms next to zombies and shooting them from across the way. There's different stores that offer different abilities that you may be able to do, and that kind of helps you break the rules a little bit to kind of give you an edge against the zombies. And you have to kind of balance all of that, because every round there's a ton of zombies getting added to them all, and if you're not careful, you get overrun. But you have to complete certain objectives, like building up an arsenal, or repairing the helicopter on the roof of the mall so you can get out of there, saving stranded people, things of that nature. And that requires that you're moving around all the different stores, and sometimes it's pick up and delivery, sometimes you're searching certain stores for something. It could be good, it could be bad, and so you have to figure out how you're going to complete your objectives while also managing the onslaught of the zombies. And it's an exciting part of the game. And so really just the different play modes, the simple approach to the engine, but yet still being able to achieve a full, robust game. That's what I'm most proud of.
Okay, cool. And you talk of moving and then battling and whatnot, or shooting the zombies from the other rooms and whatnot. How does that go down? Like, do I roll dice to see if I take them out, or how does that go down exactly?
Well, so there's 2 different ways of killing the zombie. If you move into a room with a zombie, you're going to have a melee fight, and that is a die roll. No matter what, you're going to kill the zombie, but you may take damage, and that's what the die roll determines. But you may also get what's called an overkill, and if that occurs, then not only do you kill the zombie, but you get a second free move that doesn't count against the 3 moves that you get for your turn. So you can go on quite a killing rampage if you are rolling well enough. Otherwise, you may be taking damage during your fight with the zombie. And the other way of killing the zombie is a ranged attack, and that occurs by moving into an adjacent room to a zombie and simply spending some of your ammo to kill the zombie. But the balance is in managing your ammo and your health, because if at any point in the game you have too many wounds and not enough ammo, and if at any point both of the tokens are on the same track, the ammo is at the top of the track, the wounds at the bottom of the track. So as you receive wounds, that token moves up, and as you spend ammo, that token moves down. If they ever meet and become, and reach the same number at the same time, or cross each other, that's how your character dies. So you have to be careful about spending your ammo, but you have to be more careful about receiving wounds, because it's easier to get more ammo back in the game, but it's difficult to restore your wounds.
And if you die, do you come back as a zombie or not? Or your game over?
If you die, your character becomes a zombie and has certain abilities that now go to the zombie player or go to the AI controlled zombie, and now that works against you. You'll draw another living character from the stack of unused characters and essentially start again. But you can only do that so many times. There's effectively like lives in the game, or what we call survivors or survivor tokens. So once the survivor tokens have run out, if anybody dies at that point, they lose the game. The whole team loses the game.
Okay, cool. And it looks like there's quite a bit of tokens, like 31 scenario tokens, and then I've got 28 tracker tokens, and just all kinds of tokens.
Yeah, I believe right now the game is up to over 150 components for a game that we have on Kickstarter for $25. So really, and the components are not cheap components. They're high quality cardstock, screen printed wood components, nice cardboard chits, and then, like we said before, the meeples that actually hold items, and then vehicles. So you're really getting top notch components, and you're getting a lot of them for a very inexpensive game. And that's part of what has played into the popularity of the Tine Epic series, is that we could be putting this in a bigger box and throwing a $50 price tag on it and be justified by how much components we're putting in the box, and then also how rich the gameplay is. But we like keeping them affordable and approachable, and that's part of the signature of the Tine Epic series. And people really appreciate it, and so we keep coming back and making more.
Cool, that's awesome. And so you talk about you could put it in a bigger box and whatnot. So the people that don't get an opportunity or don't have an opportunity to back it, I know it's better to back them on Kickstarter or whatnot. Will they get all these upgrades? Like I noticed the last one on the 480,000. It looks like there's a crossbow and there's a card and a crossbow item meeple or whatnot.
We have essentially two versions of the game. One is a retail version, and then one is what's called a deluxe version, and that is our Kickstarter version. So most of these stretch goals are going to be in the retail version. And in the case of Tine Epic Zombies, so far, every stretch goal is in the retail version. But there's deluxe content that backers can pick up, and that's at the $25 price point on Kickstarter. If you're going just for the retail version, you can get it for a little bit cheaper. But at $25, you get the deluxe version, so you get the extra content that does not get put into the retail version. So that's something that people want to jump on Kickstarter to pick up.
And what is that? It looks like I get a bazooka, a sword, some ninja stars, and some kind of knife and a bazooka, maybe.
So it comes with the two items for your item meeples, a bazooka and a katana. It also comes with some additional search cards, like the throwing stars that you mentioned. And then it also comes with some additional characters that you can play that on the backside have zombie versions of those characters. So you're adding a few more living characters to the game, as well as some new zombies that you could be fighting against potentially.
Okay. Does on the character you talked about the characters being both zombies and regular? Is that the way for all of your characters on this game?
Yeah. So every character in the game will have a human side and a zombie side.
Well, that's pretty cool. Cool beans. And they have different abilities, I guess, depending on what they are.
Yep, they're all unique. Yep, and they have abilities that are thematic to their archetypes.
Well, that's pretty cool. So, per se, somebody's fallen asleep. It wouldn't be because of you or your games, Michael. It'd probably be because of me and my podcast. They get tired of listening. We started back in May last year, and by the end of the year's end, we'd had 100 episodes recorded and released. So they get a little bit tired sometimes with my voice or whatnot. But now we've got their full attention. They're suddenly woken up so they don't hit the oncoming traffic. And you have their full attention, Michael. Why should they take a chance on Tine Epic Zombies, especially with all of the other great games that are on Kickstarter currently?
Well, for one, it doesn't take up a lot of space on your shelf. So I know a lot of people who support Kickstarter projects or into this hobby are running out of board game shelf space because there's so many games coming out. So we keep our games nice and small and compact. That makes them easy to take with you to game night, or you just have in your backpack wherever you're going. And then the games play pretty fast. They usually play between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. They're generally under an hour for sure. but they also offer full game experiences as if it was a full-size game. So it's like having a big game in your bag, but you've just got a small box, which a lot of people really appreciate. They're great to travel with, like I said. And we always offer the best components. They're very innovative components. The item meeples that carry items are unlike anything else that we've seen in board games. And so we're constantly innovating with our components and our mechanics. And the games are beautifully illustrated by some of the best illustrators in the industry. Tine Epic Zombies and Tine Epic Quests are illustrated by Miguel Combra, who did Seven Wonders and Small Worlds. Very notable illustrator. Scott Almes is a fantastic game designer. So it's really the full package. It's the real deal, and you're getting it for $25. It's hard to beat. So it's definitely something to check out.
Well, there you go, $25. Yeah, you can't beat that. And per se, they don't want to take your word for it. Who is there any notable reviewers or anybody else? I know you talked about Rodney Smith does like playthrough videos and whatnot, but is anybody else previewed or reviewed it that they can check out so they can take somebody else's word for it?
Yeah, somebody who always reviews the Tine Epic series because he loves all the Tine Epic games is Rahdo. So if people are familiar with Rahdo Runs Through, definitely check out his channel. He covers all of our games. He's a big fan of the Tine Epic series, and he's kind of represents the everyday gamer, somebody that likes a small, approachable game that plays fast and but is strategic and plays great at 2 players. So definitely somebody to look into to get a second opinion on our games.
Okay, yeah, so Rod'll run through it, and we'll make sure we leave links in the show notes and everything so they don't have to type everything in, even though it's not very much. They'd have to type into the Kickstarter or whatnot. Now, I don't know if you've listened to any of our podcasts or whatnot, Michael, but the next section is Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an application or an app, be it for your cell phone, for your tablet, computer, or even a video game. Is there an app that you like or use a lot of, even if it doesn't even relate to games, that we can talk about for a moment?
So I use a lot of apps, but if I have to say what app I use the most, it would be the chess.com app. I play a lot of chess every day. I probably play 10 to 20 games of chess almost every day. And I play through the app offered by chess.com. And it's a fantastic little app, and you get to play against other players around the world. And it's got a rating system, so you can kind of gauge how well you're doing and play against people that are competitive with your rating level. And you can pick different times. It's got a built-in clock, so you can play time chess, and it's really great.
Well, that's pretty cool. That sounds pretty cool. Do you know, is that available? Is that a computer app, or is it for cell phones, or how do people go about getting it?
I play it on my cell phone. I've got it for iOS, but I'm sure that it's also offered on Androids. And so I think anything that online, it's essentially just a flash. If you just go to chess.com, it's effectively a flash game, but they've got real nice apps that you can download for your phone or your tablets.
Okay, so you talk about chess.com, the application. Do you know, is that a free or a paid application? Free or a paid app?
So you can download it for free and play it endlessly for free. But if you want to have feedback on your plays, they have a system that analyzes your plays. Or if you want to play their daily puzzles and things like that, then they have a paid option. But otherwise, you can just download it and play other people around the world for free.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty cool. So if you own the rights to chess.com, the app, what would be one thing you would do to make it better or fix that app?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how it's executed right now. Chess is pretty simple. There's not a lot to it, and sometimes the interface is kind of ugly, but this app has a very nice looking interface, and you're able to change what your pieces look like and what the board looks like. So you have some customization that you can do in the app. Um, I don't know. If I owned it, I would keep it as it is. I wouldn't really change anything right now.
Okay, so you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Michael thinks it's a great app, so you guys should check it out too. So mine is coming there to, it looks like you're in the Arizona area. Mine is coming there to your hometown to stalk you, Michael. How would people go about finding out what you have going on or about your games?
They can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Gamelyn Games. It's spelled GAMELYN Games. They can check us out at gamelyngames.com, our website. We're also on Twitter and Instagram under Gamelyn Games. On Twitter, it's Gamelyn_games. We're also, you can always follow us on Kickstarter and, check out our previous Kickstarters. And anytime we launch a new Kickstarter, you get a notification if you're following us on that platform. So, so check us out there.
Okay, we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they can not have to type everything in. But we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. And how long do they have to go ahead and back Tine Epic Zombies if they want to get it?
So it's running through February 8th. So there's 19 days remaining on the project. And definitely jump in. We still got some really awesome stretch goals left to unlock. So we definitely could use some more support to reach those stretch goals, though the game is funding very well. We're currently at $422,658 raised. So I believe we've unlocked 18 stretch goals now. So there's a lot of new content in the game that wasn't there at the launch of the project. So it's a great time to jump in and take advantage of some of that.
Okay, yeah. Well, so we'll make sure we leave that all in there so they can check it out. Do you have a lot more stretch goals lined up?
We definitely have some more stretch goals lined up. The size of the box puts a constraint on us in how many stretch goals we can do, because there's only so much that we can fit in the box, and we also have to be mindful of the weight of the box so that we can offer the kind of shipping prices we have. But we definitely have a few more stretch goals at least to get through. So check it out and see if the game's for you. We hope to get your support.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Michael.
Hey, thanks a lot, Blake, for having me on.
Okay, we wanted to be able to thank Michael for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. That was awesome. And we're hoping that this is the first interview that we released this before any of the other podcasters, but only time will tell. That's why we're going to hurry and give you Kickstarter Corner. It's been a while. So on Kickstarter Corner this week, we've got a couple of great games. We wanted to tell you about 42 Days, The Journey Out of Homelessness. 42 Days, The Journey Out of Homelessness is an educational board game where players can experience what it is like to be homeless. If you wonder what it's about or you want to hear about the designer, we talked to him on the last episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Then we've also got Hermatica. It's a 2-player abstract strategy board game. Well, actually, the 42 Days goes through the 15th of February, so get on board. And then Hermatica, like I was saying, it's a 2-player abstract strategy board game where clever combos and dynamic terrain create a battle of choice, tactics, and wits. We had all of the designers on for that game a while back ago, as well as I did a review, and then also Barbarian Leaf did a review. So 3 episodes for one game. They're really close to their goal, and you have until the 8th of February to get on board. So check it out on the Kickstarters. Also, we've got Warriors of Jogu, Feint. Outwit your opponent in this tactical card game of bluffing and deduction by Monsoon Publishing. They're getting close as well. They got 23 days. You have until the 16th of February to back it on the Kickstarters. Check it out. Also, don't forget about Supernatural Socks, a tabletop game about lost socks. Have you ever lost your socks in the dryer? Well, Supernatural Socks is a game about the ghost that takes those socks. From Aetherius Games. They're really close to their goal. You got about a week to go. Back it before the 31st of January. Yeah, check it out. It looks really fun. I can't wait to play it. Hopefully I'll be able to. And then we got MaricopaCon 2018 and MaricopaCon 2018 and MacroCon 2018. Get 2 cons for the price of 1. back this great con, especially if you live in the West Coast, Western United States. For this is an Arizona area. Check it out. You'll want to definitely go. You have until the 14th of February to check it out. It's in the Phoenix area. So yeah, don't tell us we didn't warn you if you miss out. Check it out on the Kickstarters. And this, my friends, has been Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We will catch you all on the flip side. Don't forget to fill out our survey. If you go to our website and check out our survey, if you listen to our show, you could be entered to win. That's right, a $25 gift certificate to Amazon. The more entries, the more people will win. You all have a great day, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.